Police not ready for the summer of unrest, it says on the front page of the Daily Telegraph. Police have said that basically if there is a problem, if there are riots over the course of the summer, which a lot of people are now predicting there will be, even the government are saying it, the police are saying, oh, we're not ready. We haven't got enough police and we don't know what to do. What's happened to the police service in this country?
The thing about that is, do you remember Southport, which was appalling? Yeah. We spent months, didn't we, before that, hearing about how the police had been cut, there was no bobbies on the beat, how there was no space in prisons, there was no space in court, there was a backlog of 3 years. Yeah. When everybody who protested, who, according to Starmer, was far right, and there's the issue, on television, the police took to the streets, they were arrested and tried and thrown in jail within 24 hours. Yeah. I would respectfully suggest, I mean, I blame the Tories as much as Labour for this. Yeah. This started with Theresa May. The way that you create a network that deals with crime is you have bobbies on the beat giving intel to each other. They've obviously stripped it back. But then you look at what happened at Epping. Yeah. How can they send 9 police vans or something? No. They must have... Do they have an agenda? And by the way, summer riots. Why are the government not over this? Yeah. Why are they not saying that's unacceptable? The Epping story to me is frightening, chilling. It's
the Epping story is the problem that Britain has in a nutshell. You know, it says here that the rioting that broke out in the wake of the Southport killings last year has exposed the deep fragility within our public order policing system. Well, do something about it then.
Well, just keep the public in order.
That was last year. And this guy, B.J. Harrington, as you call him, you know, he is not only the chief of the police in Essex, he's also the guy in charge of all public order policing in England and Wales. So he's
That's
the
frightening.
boss of all of that, right?
Yeah.
We're going to play a couple of clips. I know you've seen these already from yesterday,
cool.
But this is when he said, he had a press conference yesterday where he basically said, I'm not resigning, this is not about me. He was accused of busing, for those of you who have been sleeping under a rock for the last couple of days, busing lefty protesters into the Bell Hotel so that they could interact with the ordinary people there who were protesting against the migrants. Have a look at this.
I mean, there's been some accusation in the media that we drove people to the protest. That is not true. We have not driven anybody to that protest. People made their own way there. And of course, one of the accusations and one of the things circulated is we did take people away for their safety, for the safety of everyone there, because it was the best operational thing to do to prevent violence, to diffuse the situation. We drove them away from a violent confrontation.
So he didn't bust them in, but he bust them out, right? And what they also did, which he was slightly disingenuously not saying there, was that they escorted them from the train station so that they were flanked by police, so nobody could touch them or do anything to them or talk to them. And once they got to the place where they could demonstrate against the good, hard-working folks of Epping, then they drove them away because they were in danger. Well, they were only in danger because you bleeding well took them there.
Well, that's the point. The hypocrisy. What about kettling? That's supposed to be a police tactic. You can look at that man and go, let's get this absolutely straight. I said this yesterday, is there a political ideology? Is there something going on here? Yeah. A bunch of people ultimately who live in Epping, thoroughly concerned that their kids...
Many of them
there was an
mothers,
Ethiopian asylum,
right?
an Ethiopian asylum seeker, allegedly, we have to say, had sexually assaulted
a 14-year-old.
Well,
he's been charged with it. He denies it. But
you know what it's like, the legalities of all this. Otherwise, you get into trouble. People, 50% women, took to the thing and were upset. If you are in charge of that as a police officer or the boss of the police, why are you allowing people in masks with a completely different opinion to come in and put them there? You'd stop that.
Sure.
By bringing them in, you've created that stuff and then you bust them out. I think I could be completely wide of the mark. There's a bigger thing going on here. I think that's him making himself look like he can deal with that. Does this come from on high? Did somebody tell him to do that?
He claims, or did claim in this press conference yesterday, that the decision was made on the ground by officers at the time. They don't make that decision without being told by the bosses that you can do that if you want. There's no way.
And as you quite rightly said on Drive yesterday, and I think this is even more important, this is a man who in 2021, B.J. Harrington, said that in his mind the most serious crimes were hate crimes. He's the one who went after the ex-Alison Pearson from the Telegraph. 6 officers arrived at a house over some tweet. He's being sued. And the most telling thing is, if you were in the community of Epping, last year, only 13.35% of crimes were solved by his thing, but his force. But he's running around doing what he's doing. Nearly 1.5 people arrested every day for hate crimes, and yet only 3% of rapes in Essex dealt with.
Right.
He's a disgrace.
He is a disgrace. He also apparently thinks of himself as this kind of very woke you know, leader who thinks the most important thing is to be an LGBT plus ally.
No, you're a police officer. Arrest criminals, you idiot.
No, I know, that's your job. But Essex Police is known to be the most woke police force in the country, right? Here's what he had to say about escorting the protesters.
Oh.
Force initially said that they didn't bring anyone to the hotel, but your colleague seems to suggest that that had happened after footage emerged. Can you set the record straight then? Was Stuart wrong when he said that?
Under the law of this country as it stands, people have the freedom to assembly and to freedom of speech.
So your officers did bring people towards that hotel?
Listen to my answer. That is there is a duty upon policing to allow people to exercise their rights of assembly and protest. That's the right of this country under that Human Rights Act. People came to that of their own volition. They walked up to that protest in order to ensure that we understand the threat, manage and deal with the risks and the issues, as we did outside the hotel, as we did in the high street. We had officers there and they would have walked alongside to make sure that they understand, can intervene and prevent and detect crime. That's what happened, that's what the photos show, and that's what we did.
Yeah, so that's what you actually did. So you actually escorted them.
Listen to my answer.
Right?
You sanctimonious.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly.
What a pompous, absolute prig. And I say
I'm
that
glad
word
you
with a
said
G.
prig.
Prig with a G.
There's an ideology.
Let's not forget that at the weekend, when Peter Blexley first made the allegation that this is what had happened.
With Alex on breakfast,
on breakfast, they denied it. They put out a statement in which they said that anybody who was purporting to suggest that they had escorted or brought or bussed or done anything with these lefty activists, that was misinformation, and you might be liable to prosecution for spreading misinformation. So they lied about it, and now they're telling the truth because they've been caught out.
And also, you can see, do you know, people say there's many things that annoy me. His answer there, listen to me, that sanctimonious man that we're talking about, that is absolutely a mirror image of what's wrong with society. People like him and Starmer believe that they're right. That is not serving the best interests of your community.
No.
If his argument
He manages to get human rights into it.
If his argument is everybody has a right to protest, I agree, but I'll flip it, right? Can you imagine if stand up to racist, pro-immigration, Palestine were there yesterday, right? Would he, and I'm not condoning this, but do you think that 50 skinheads with Nazis or what you know, the dreadful...
People, but they have
do you
a right
think
to
that
protest?
the police would have allowed them to walk from the train station to that hotel? No, they wouldn't, and they shouldn't have.
Right.
So that's the point. So then you look at it and you go, there's something afoot here, and he just looks political to me,
He does.
Mikey.
Well,
he looks like he's got an agenda.
He's come out of this police training school, you know, which has become so woke that they don't really care anymore about, you know, arresting criminals. All they care about is being an ally of the LGBT, you know, Pride Alliance. All they care about is painting their, you know, police cars with rainbow colours and making sure that they hit a few targets on diversity.
But if your shop's been burgled or you've been attacked or your back door or you know somebody's nicked, we're not coming around because it doesn't matter.
As I'm sure you have, we've had people on this show call in and say, I had one guy call in from a corner shop somewhere in Birmingham. He said, I've had 39 cases of shoplifting.
Disgusting.
He said, I've got 39 different crime numbers. He said, the police never bothered to come. They just give me a crime number straight away now. You don't even have to wait for it.
And if you said that to that guy, right, if I wanted somebody at that press conference to say, you've only you go on about people's rights. What about the fact you've only solved 3% of women being raped in Essex? What would he say? Oh, I'm not answering that. You're trying to make something out of this. I think the British people have had enough of it, and I've said for a long time, I think any politician misses the point if they don't wake up and realise that there is resentment and understandable resentment.
Absolutely, and we're going to come back to that because we're going to take a little break in a minute. The 4-star fiasco on the front page, and this is the asylum farce goes on front page of the Sun. As it said, they've also got a great big piece on Ozzy, on the love of his life, Ozzy Osbourne, that is. Sharon saved me every day, and we should talk about Sharon a bit because
amazing woman.
I said yesterday we were fortunate enough to get to know her when she worked here, and what an amazing woman she was.
She loved him, man, the bones of him.
I remember, absolutely right. But one other story I want to just tease for you before we come back, and this is Angela Rayner, right? She's got a staff office, I kid you not, right, as the office of the Deputy Prime Minister, 30 people in her office, right? 30, right? And they have flown around the world so often that they could have actually gone around the world 13 times.
What are they flown around the world for?
Well, apparently they've gone to a lot of housing conferences, right? But I just want you to remember, there's only one trip that we remember that Angela Rayner made. She went to see the Pope in the Vatican, right? I didn't know that she was a particularly practicing Catholic, but she also went, if you remember, to Ethiopia. Have a look at this.
It's been an incredible experience coming to Ethiopia. The UK is committed to working with Ethiopia and the UK economy to work with the Ethiopian economy. His aspirations for Ethiopia's future. It was great to visit Ethiopia's stock exchange and learn more about how it's unlocking Ethiopia's potential. We will build on to deliver jobs for Ethiopia and the UK. The UK continues to work with Ethiopia here in the UK and Ethiopia. Ethiopia.
What on earth? I mean, I don't remember any jobs coming from Ethiopia.
From where?
Oh, Ethiopia.
Ethiopia.
That's double E-F-I-O-P-I-A.
Why is
Ethiopia.
there a part of me in this horrendous situation we find ourselves with, this completely incompetent, idiotic Prime Minister and a front bench of a government that just don't know seemingly anything, right? No opposition apart from reform. Why do I want her to be Prime Minister?
Yeah, because
for the humour.
For the comedy value. But this is the number of miles they've flown, right? She, officials and ministers in her department of housing, communities, local government and Ethiopia, 319,872 miles they've flown.
I would respectfully suggest it's 82 miles from the House of Commons to Epping. Why don't you get off your backside and go to Ware or Canary Wharf or Diss in Norfolk, where people in this country are going, do you know what? Forget your Davros World Forum or Ethiopia. And understand what the British people want, because it's bad. I mean,
unbelievable.
She's brilliantly bad, isn't she?
She is fantastic.
Is she still with our Sam?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
I think
do you think if she became Prime Minister, she'd be given her seat back? What do you think will happen?
I don't think.
Do you think he might go to Ethiopia?
I think she might trade up if she gets into Downing Street. I think there's definitely some trading up going on there. Listen, it's 18 minutes past 6. Jeremy Kyle is here, the world's most expensive newspaper reviewer. As I said, we'll see you after this. Jeremy Kyle is here with me this morning. It's great.
I'm loving this.
It's great to have you here. We've got a voice note from James. Let's go.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Jezza. Now, just regarding our illegal immigration, Starmer could stop this today, Mike, if he really wanted to. He could stop this today, but he chooses not to. He chooses to ignore it. All the government do, Mike, is just talk absolute and I like how Starmer's fixing the foundations using his hairdryer. I say that's coming along lovely, Mike, isn't it? You absolute prat, Starmer. Can't stand this government, Mike. Cannot stand this government. It's terrible, Mike.
It really is. It's bloody awful. And he references the hairdryer. Now, you might not remember this clip, but this was when Starmer was talking about fixing the foundations in happier times, right? We do this a lot on this show, as we sometimes just retread some clips from old. And this is what he said. This is Starmer is one of his most weird moments. Have a look.
Fixing the foundations is like finding damp in your wall. You can paint over it and get the hairdryer out and dry it. All done that. Hope it goes away. Or you can strip it out, rip out the plaster and deal with the problem once and for all.
Yeah, your face is brilliant. What's he talking about? Have you ever taken a hairdryer to the wall?
Only when I've been in a public toilet, right? This is true, right?
Okay.
We've all done this, and the water's sprayed all over your groin.
Yeah.
And I've done the whole thing again.
Oh, yeah,
you know that you do that to try and get so nobody thinks you've wet yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
What is that man?
He's mad, isn't he?
And you look, we were talking during the break, suddenly this story's come up on the Telegraph, and then you think to yourself, hold on a minute, how much of this is incompetence, or how much of the... Apparently the pro-migration protest group that were escorted by Essex Police is funded by the trade unions.
This is the Stand Up to Racism crowd, right? They explicitly oppose Nigel Farage's Reform UK, and they're backed by the TUC, the Trades Union Congress. So, I said this to you yesterday. I don't understand the sequence of events, right? Now, I don't know how this works. We had a couple of people telling us yesterday. Does this group Stand Up to Racism call the police and say, we're coming to Epping, would you mind escorting us to the protest? Or does it become known by the police that they're going to come? And
does it get known on social media? Right. So his defence, B.J. Harrington, would be, we were ready for them. But my argument to that idiot is, if I as a police officer or chief saw people with masks, I'd think they're probably going to cause a bit of trouble.
Yeah, right.
This plays to a rhetoric. After Southport, if you remember, I remember taking this astonishing call from this nurse. She said, I disagree with the migration situation, I disagree with the NHS, Jez, but I now can't even walk with a placard because our Prime Minister has said that anybody is far right. This plays into the narrative. I said something on Drive yesterday, don't know what you think, or the callers or whatever, maybe it's madness. I think parts of the establishment, the blob, the government, the police, institutions that I think are probably affected by wokeratiism, for want of a better phrase, are terrified that the British people have woken up and they've got a voice in Nigel Farage that's saying, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that, and I think they're kicking back, and I think this is part of it. And people will say that's conspiratorial. It's not.
No, because the reason why Nigel Farage is so popular is because people are beginning to wake up to the fact that things like the TUC and organisations like the Police of Essex are actually tantamount to left-wing organisations now. They're no longer
the BBC, an agenda.
BBC, an agenda. They're no longer just look at even the Met Office, for heaven's sake. They're all you get the woke weather now. You get everything's red and black, and we're all going to die, and we're all going to perish in the middle of the night because it's going to be so hot.
Oh yeah, there's a hurricane working, and there was a twig on the outside.
Exactly. I mean, so people have woken up to that. They're not going to take it anymore. And I could tell when watching that guy B.J. Harrington yesterday.
You love that B.J.
I do. I like it. You could see that he was itching to say Nigel Farage is causing trouble, Nigel Farage is the problem, Nigel Farage is the person that's making all this happen, when in fact the problem, everybody can see it, is the bloody migrants in the hotel.
Well, that's I should also pay a compliment to you in this show, because Nigel Farage got that clip from you, because you played it before anybody else. But the truth of the matter is, of course the establishment is terrifying. Might be that Nigel Farage is not the next Prime Minister, might be somebody else, but my point is this: the British people, I think, have not found their voice even, Mikey. They've realised that they have a right. And whereas 5 years ago, if you dared to say, oh, I'm sorry, I do think we've got a problem with immigration, you're racist. No, no, you're not. Women concerned about their teenage daughters because male... sexually active men in hotels with no control and no vetting. I've got teenage daughters. I would be exactly the same. I'm not far right. Shove it where the sun don't shine, mate. I'm not having that.
And also, why can they not see the danger and the ridiculousness of putting these men, as you describe them, next door to a bleeding secondary school, where there are young girls walking in and out, in school uniforms, and one of them gets assaulted, and then they're surprised that the people are upset about it.
That's called being a parent and protecting your kids. Isn't it?
Yeah. What sort of parent would you be if you didn't care about that? How about this from Chris in Newbury? Mike and Jezza. So BJ is in charge of all public order policing, like the Hamas-supporting marches in London, where they arrest Jews trying to counter-protest peacefully. That BJ? Because that's what happens. If you're a Jewish protester in London and you want to go up against the Palestinian mob, you get arrested. You get told away. You can't go near them. If you're in Epping and you're a lefty, you get escorted by the police to the point at which you can actually cause trouble. Mike and Jez, says Jeremy in Exeter, the police aren't ready for a summer of riots. Really? So why bus in a load of agitators to cause just that? Something doesn't add up here. Have a great day. Yeah, people are too wise now. They understand what's going on.
This is what I'm saying. I think the British people, it's interesting when you look at politics, I think they were hacked off after the expenses scandal. I think there was, the Tories in the end, nobody was listening because it was such a lack of belief in anything. And then you had old hairdryer Starmer saying, it's going to be, I'm doing the accent, but grown-ups. He's been a cataclysm. I actually think they're so out of their depth. I genuinely think they're out of their depth.
They literally can't. They
and
don't
I don't think the Tories will ever recover. And I think the Nigel Farage, and I said it yesterday, this isn't me banging the reform drum. He's speaking about the things that a majority of people in this country are concerned about, and he's brave enough to say, "Listen, I don't care if the media or legal people have a go. And look at that bloke, that copper. You're so right. He wanted to say, I hate Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage is what's wrong with this country. No, you're the problem, BJ. You're absolutely symptomatic of what's wrong. I think
he absolutely is. Dan Hodges for me is the signpost of everything that's gone wrong for Labour, because Dan Hodges started a year ago, basically telling me that this is going to be a whole new broom. We're going to sweep away the Tories.
What does he say now?
He's got a commentary piece in the Mail today. Number 10 is now starting to resemble Biden's White House, with aides scrambling to justify Starmer's blunders because he's that bad. You remember this week? There's been so much happening every single day that we forget.
Too much to keep up.
Well, yeah, we forget. But basically... he said, do you remember when he was in front of that liaison committee, there's lots of houses, there are millions of them, we can put people in.
To whisper in his ear.
What?
Oi, Keir, There's 1.3 million people waiting, you incompetent
Well, you
gits.
can see even Meg Hillier
Behind
sort of
them.
aghast, looking at him going, what? What are you talking about? Everybody knows there aren't any council
People
houses.
laughed at you, and Dan makes the point this morning. I think he will be gone within a year, and I don't think that was ever thought of with a 180-seat majority. What could come after is even more frightening. But this man is not up to it. I don't know whether that's maybe all politicians aren't up to it.
Well, Dan Hodges says this. A Labour MP I spoke to recently is in despair at the Prime Minister, and this is his quote. He said, "He's insane. How can he say what he said? How can he honestly think there's huge amounts of spare housing? It's entirely mad." That's what Labour MPs are saying about their own leader.
And somebody, no, I agree. And somebody said the other day, well, how if you've got a majority that big, would you be in trouble? I'll tell you why. Because as we count down to the election, they will look, as all MPs do at their majorities, and they'll go, Christ, this man's a liability.
Yeah.
But what comes after Starmer? West Streeting is done.
Ethiopia.
Because streeting. Oh, I'll sort out the doctor's strike. I'll give him 22%. I'm a genius. They want more now, you complete idiot. He doesn't look good.
West Streeting looked a lot better before the election he does now, right?
Ethiopia. Can you imagine I'm at G7 and I'm having a chat with Ethiopia?
And Jim says, why are we working with Ethiopia? When have they ever helped us? Labour Muppets. It's embarrassing. It really is. But, I mean, you know, I kid you not, looking at that story about Angela Rayner's staff, why does, you know, what becomes of these people who think that they're so important? You know, Angela Rayner's had a fantastically successful career.
Yes.
Having started as a single mother, a teenage mother. She's now a grandmother at the age of 40 or something like that, right? She came from a very humble background up in the north of England.
Managed to have two houses.
Managed to get two houses and avoid the capital gains tax. Well done to her for that. But at the end of the day, you know, she's done terribly well for herself. But what the hell does she think she is, that she needs 30 people working in the office of the Deputy Prime Minister?
This I think...
This is the sort of empire building that they do, right?
but I think it feeds back exactly to what we're talking about, which is... whereas criticising governments or things like that in the past, you'd be labelled. I think people are going, right, so I did it the other day, like, so we've always been really good, we've always helped, we've always tried to do it. We're skint. We're skint. We can't even afford the interest and the debts we got, right? We seem to help every other bugger, whether it's Mauritius...
Well, we're still sending money to Zelensky, who's now having demonstrations every night against him for being corrupt, right? We're giving him billions and billions of pounds. We haven't got them.
The Chagos Islands, the Mauritian people... are walking around for 12 months income tax-free. Try telling that. Get outside the M25 corridor, people, because there are people. Try telling people who work all their lives, never had a hand out, never asked for anything, who are struggling to pay their bills, that the Ethiopia. No, Mauritians, I got that wrong, are walking around going, hey, thank you, Great Britain, we've got no income tax. What a load of... that's the problem.
I know, absolutely ridiculous.
It's such a problem.
Andy's got a voice note for us. Have a listen.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Jezza. Andy in Portsmouth. Just listening to Angela Rayner's Ethiopia speech there. Don't you think it's very akin to Rachel Reeves' I'm an economist speech? I mean, how many times did she mention that she was an economist? They're all a bunch of clowns, in my view. Anyway, have a good day, fellas. Keep up the great work.
He sounds how I feel.
Andy, exactly right. So many people...
I'm off in my van to work 12 hours, but why the hell should I bother? Because actually... and that's the point for me, right? We can laugh at... I mean, most of the Labour front bench have gone from university students' union to think tank to union...
to having an office with 30 people.
I know. I mean, you know, but I don't think the quality of politicians is any good across most areas, to be honest. But that man there sums it up. Out of bed... say goodbye to his kids and his wife, probably. He'll do 12 hours. He'll come home and he'll think, you see those blokes on the street corner smoking, having a bet or having a drink? They've done nothing all day and they're getting more than me. Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Incredible. We'll come back to that, because how on earth are they getting this card that they can bet £50 a week in betting shops and casinos? But let's face it, we are in a terrible, terrible state in this country. But luckily, just to remind you, we've got somebody really, really good in charge of the Exchequer.
Well, I'm an economist. I studied economics. I got a master's in economics from the London School of Economics, and I worked as an economist at the Bank of England.
Really? Okay then.
How many times can you say economist or economics in one name?
Yeah,
she's also very, very, very low rate.
Hopeless.
Yeah.
Hopeless. Did you see her this week? She was in front of the House of Lords committee talking about, she had her head in her hands. She was trying to explain, it was like somebody in an economics lecture at university when I did it many, many years ago, trying to explain macroeconomics when the professor had asked them to explain it. Have we got that one as well? All right, let's have a look at this. Here we go.
At the same time, we also have a challenging economic inheritance with high levels of tax as a share of GDP, historic high levels of government debt, and then also economic growth that really for the last 15 years has been very poor by historical standards because of the weak productivity growth that we've experienced in that period of time.
I'm not, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but we do what we do for a living.
Yeah.
Do you not meet so many of these or watch so many of these politicians, and excuse me, my brother, and think you are crap?
Yeah.
You are not even...
No.
You're incompetent, but you can't even speak.
You can't even speak in public.
There's no passion, there's no understanding, you haven't got your brief, you haven't got an argument, you're just some basically... just really amateurish, not very good person.
She sounded there like she's reading from a textbook, but not really quite understanding the context of anything that she's saying.
And they wonder why Nigel Farage is gaining traction, because you agree with him or don't agree with him. He's passionate, isn't it?
Well, also, he does what we do. He can jump up on a stage and just talk, you know? Like when like we were saying, when that time when everything fell over, and we had
I haven't dropped anything, by the way.
Well done.
We're half an hour in.
Hang on, don't tempt fate. God's sake. We've kept you quite far away from all the controls.
No, you haven't. There's a control thing there. I could blow the whole thing up.
No, but the thing is, we talk for a living, right? So that's what we're supposed to do. If you're the Chancellor of the Exchequer, you also have to talk for a living.
And
you also have to be able to add up. You also have to be able to explain economics to people. She can't explain.
She doesn't understand
how to make a ham sandwich.
And also, actually, just flipping it deliberately, all this stuff about asylum seekers and B.J. Harrington yesterday in Epping, not a word from our Home Secretary yesterday, by the way. Nothing from Yvette Cooper.
Well, we spoke to the woman who is actually the mother of the Reform councillor that we speak to, Jamie. What's his name? Can't remember his last name. Jamie McIver. So we had her on the show. You know, the woman who was on the clip saying, "Look, we're mothers. We just want to make sure everything's fine." I said to her, "Look, if you could have one, beseeching word with Keir Starmer, what would you say to him?" And she said, just please come out and see us. Come and see us, talk to us, listen to what we're concerned about, understand why we're doing this, understand why we think it's a bad idea to house these young men, single men, in a hotel next to a secondary school. Come and talk to us. Yvette Cooper, Keir Starmer, nothing from them. They haven't got the nous. Can you imagine? I mean, even Boris Johnson, for all of his faults, would have been down there to talk to the people and say, all right, what's going on? What are you worried about? To try and reassure them. Instead of which, Starmer hunkers down, pretends it's not happening, and starts talking. You know what he's doing now? He's got another state visit from Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, who's come here. And people are going, what are you talking to him for?
So you're going to make a trade deal that probably won't benefit us, but you're missing... But that essentially is the point. That's window dressing. And I think politics is changing, and that sums it up brilliantly. If you don't touch, listen to, visit, show it, even if you disagree with the people in Epping, be big enough to go there and listen to what they're saying.
Exactly.
Get their respect that way.
Get out of the bleeding bubble, for heaven's sake.
I don't think... The biggest lie that this Labour government has given, in my mind, was when, he kept saying working... I mean, the growth was one thing, but it's for working people. I say this all the time on Drive, right? I spend a lot of time in Newcastle, you know that. This is north of Watford Gap, peeps, right? These are working-class people who haven't got a moment for the Labour Party. No. They haven't got They say they don't care about us. No, they don't care about us. They care about London and their bubble. Yeah. Frightening.
I mean, the only reason why... I mean, you remember back in 2019 when Labour got completely trounced with Jeremy Corbyn at the helm, the only seat they won was in Putney. One of the most middle-class places in Britain where everybody drives around a Range Rover and they've all got houses worth about £5 million quid. But Mikey, that's the new Labour Party.
Shall I tell you how bad it is? And I never thought I'd say this. I would spend my life disagreeing with everything that Jeremy Corbyn stands for. But at least he had the balls to stand up and lay out what he wanted to fight on. Yeah. He got more votes than Keir Starmer.
Yeah, he did.
Love him or loathe him, and I loathe the man. Yeah. He stands by what he damn well believes. Yeah. This one is vacuous, I think.
It totally is. Totally is. Another voice note from Liam. Let's go.
Morning, Mike and Jezza. Liam from Kent. So, We've got people protesting against Zelensky. We've had all the Afghans coming over here. We've got the immigration problem. We've got people protesting every other night. I would say the Labour Party are doing a really good job. A really good job of everything up. You can fill in the blank. Have a great show, guys. Love hearing you both in the morning. Take care.
Liam, thank you very much.
I love the fact that your listeners, right, do everything they can to say any word that's not allowed. It's brilliant.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
They're brilliant. It's my birthday, says Toddy. I'm 54. Yes, younger than you, Jezza. Cheer me up and tell me this is a bloody dream. I can stop the boats in my sleep. Great show. Love TalkTV. Ed from Ducklington, West Oxfordshire.
Is he Toddy?
He says he's got a hotel right next to him.
Is he called Toddy?
His nickname is Toddy.
This is crap. Do you think he'll have a wee Toddy later to celebrate his birthday?
Well, there'll be a chilly lot in the morning.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's 80,000 people that have got these cards which they can gamble on. 80,000.
So what? They're given. So when you arrive,
a card, yeah, they give you a phone, they give you a blanket, they give you a card.
So they give you a phone.
They give you a phone, yeah.
With how much credit on it?
Well, who knows? But they get. I mean, we've seen.
You don't have to go to O2 and queue up like I did for 4 hours.
We've spoken to people. When they get to the hotel, they have somebody offering them. They can have a Samsung phone or an iPhone, depending on which one they wish to choose.
What the hell is the point of going to work, man?
I don't know.
And you get a card, but there is something about this card we want to find out because gambling organisations.
Yeah.
How are you allowing them to trade this?
I know. I don't know. We'll come back to it though. Because we've got a break. Otherwise, Christian's going to kill me. It's 6:40. It's me. It's Jeremy Carl. It's Morning Glory. What can be better, quite frankly?
They don't know what the they're doing.
This project has always been about fixing the foundations of our country.
Fixing the foundations of our country.
By going to Ethiopia.
Ethiopia. Morning, Mike, says David. He says, I'm sick and tired of the way this country is being run. The waste of our hard-earned taxes is criminal, and I'm no longer willing to sponsor these idiots. I've decided to close my business and retire early so that I no longer contribute to their folly. I'm bloody angry about what is being done to our wonderful country. I'm getting a lot of these messages. A lot of people who are self-made, run their own businesses, are just packing up and either moving abroad or just saying, I'm just shutting it. I'm just not going to take part anymore.
So this, we'll come to power and we're going to create growth by bringing in that national insurance and screwing small and medium-sized businesses. People like him are shutting their businesses. People lose jobs. The wealth has gone. These people are idiots in power because people who are successful are leaving this country. They pay more tax than other people.
Yeah.
That goes to the exchequer. This is just, to
And
me,
these
it's madness.
I've got
madness.
somebody,
hold on, we got one.
Somebody called Olivia, who's obviously going through this Daily Mail story with a fine-tooth comb. It says these cars, these cars that are being used in casinos, right? Apparently they're designed not to be used online, but they can be used to withdraw cash inside a casino. Right? So the migrants are going, well, we can't actually order anything on Amazon. We can't actually buy some new clothes, but we can go to a casino and withdraw cash from the casino cash desk.
So let's have it straight. When they say we're going to Great Britain because we've family there, it's because there are bombs raining on our head.
No.
It's because we're wiping their ass and giving them phones and cards to gamble with and allowing them to get away. It's terrible, man. And for all the people who will go, not listening to this, but people will say to me, it's just wrong. You're being very unfair.
Yeah.
Try telling that to your average Briton.
Right, who can't afford to go to a casino, by the way, because they haven't got any spare money. Here's another one for you, right? This will cheer you up.
Oh, good.
Page 2 of The Sun.
Yep.
Bonkers UN court ruling. Countries could soon be able to sue each other for climate reparations after a bonkers court. So that means it's your fault, right, that down in Ethiopia,
I can't do this
it's a bit
anymore.
hot now, right,
Yeah.
because of what you've been doing in the 18th century up in Lancashire, right, with the mills and everything. So basically the International Court of Justice says now poorer nations can launch multi-billion-pound compensation cases against rich countries like Britain.
Because why?
Because it's our fault.
What have I done? What are we going to apologise for now?
Well, because we pushed all that horrible sort of industrial revolution smoke into the air.
And slavery and everything else that's wrong with the world.
And so the reason that the world is now dying is our fault. Yeah.
So should we have some more people that are dying coming? Because we're skint anyway. Why don't you just all come? Because we're all screwed anyway.
Yeah, absolutely right.
This is that idiot. I mean, I fear this front bench, but he is...
He really is. I've got a couple of clips to show of him, right? Here he is talking about energy bills, because he's still telling you, right? He's still telling you this BS that the energy bills are going to go down. Have a look.
Is that £300 off people's energy bills still a firm commitment from this government?
Look, we said we would cut people's bills by up to £300, and that remains a commitment. It was based on independent modelling. The key thing is that What we need to do is move to a system that can cut bills for good. And the way to do that is with the lower wholesale prices that renewable energy will bring.
So it's a commitment to reduce your bill by 300
Independent modelling.
Yeah, independent modelling, meaning it's basically made up.
Yeah.
It's not true.
So when you came to power and you said that energy bills were going to go down and they've increased, the answer that he gave then, if we cut through the BS, was we're trying to find a way of reducing bills, and we believe that something that's going to cost billions of pounds that we haven't got is going to at some point achieve that, by which time you dipstick will be out of power and it'll all be reversed.
And also, only just this week, when they announced that they were starting work on Sizewell C, which, by the way, they've been working on for 2 years, so it wasn't even the Labour Party that started it, they said the bills are going to go up because we have to subsidise the new nuclear power plant we're building. So he's just lying. They just lie now.
But I think the greatest line ever, and I quote you every day, is when you said on this show, so let's just assume that, although we've got really low emissions compared to the rest of the world who don't give a toss, that we get to net zero.
Right.
And you said on this show, I was driving, somebody drove off the road. What happens if we get there? Do we get a medal? We've achieved it now. What do we do afterwards? Are we aiming for a different target? It's ludicrous.
Nothing changes.
Nothing
changes at all.
I'm still going to use deodorant. You can sod off, millipede. I don't care.
Even in
I don't want to
Ethiopia,
stink.
It will still be hot. It will still be hot there. But have a look at this. It's the creepiest Smile of the Week award, right? This is Millipede yesterday, after he was asked about the bills. It says he's still got lots to do.
We consider ourselves an industrial policy department now, not just an energy policy department. So delivering on the promise of good jobs across the country, which the investments I've talked about will make possible, and making sure these are good jobs with decent wages and strong trade unions. And then fourth, internationally, working with other countries to keep momentum driving forward on the road to COP30 and beyond. So, I think a lot done, a lot to do, as a slogan I used in an earlier stage of my life.
So what was
Look
that?
at his face.
What was that? What, when he was
leader of the Labour Party? Let's not forget.
When it was disastrous.
There was some, and
the stone.
When he was, the Ed Stone, which is still somewhere down in Hastings in a warehouse. Right?
I will be crap.
Yeah, 10 commandments of nothingness. When he was, don't forget, Environment Secretary under Gordon Brown, he was the guy that told us all to buy diesel cars.
Did he?
Diesel cars are much more energy friendly and environmentally friendly.
Oh, he's changed his opinion then?
Yeah. Now, if you've got a diesel car, you must be taxed up the wazoo to the point where you can't actually spend any money at all.
Up the wazoo?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. I mean, but that ridiculous kind of gurn at the end, lot to do, still got a lot to do.
To do that
What's wrong with him?
That's that man's in charge of it's just sanctimonious and self-serving. I wasn't saying people, what are you actually telling me and what are you trying to do?
And what are you doing? Exactly right. We've got a break again. We've got a voice note from Johnny. We're going to talk about Meghan Markle coming up next.
Tony from Bradford here. Great show as usual, and it's great to see Jeremy with you, Mike, together. I hope this continues. Look, my blood is boiling. I've had enough of this country. Every time I wake up, you think it can't get any worse. I put the news on, I put talk on, and what happens? It does get worse with these clowns, these socialists. I just can't stand it anymore. What the hell is going on?
I know. This is the question on everybody's lips. What the hell is going on? What's Keir Starmer doing? When's he going to come out and actually talk to the people? When's he going to fix it? It's a nightmare. 6:49. We've got another 10 minutes to go. This from Graham came in earlier from Bushy. He says, to get in so early, did Jeremy stay at the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf last night? Well, that's the place where they're on the front page of the Sun carrying a mattress in. This is the other thing, right? If you've got a hotel, why do you need to take a mattress into a hotel?
Well, it's obvious.
Surely
to cram as many into the rooms as possible. There is, by the way, a sauna, a gym, a table
I've actually stayed there. I stayed there years ago, but it wasn't great, I have to say. I mean, they must have upped it a bit.
I do think they need to up it a bit for these poor migrants.
I was shall we say, between marriages, and I was staying there with a very good friend. The
reason you were between marriages,
to get the Daily Mirror to pay for it.
Did you?
Yeah, because we were working in Canary Wharf in those days. But it was very hot in the hotel. They couldn't control the temperature. And at one point, I walked down the corridor, and there was a door open, a couple of doors away from where I was, making a porn movie.
Well, what about that story we did on Plank yesterday?
Yeah, I know. That was the OnlyFans migrants, right?
I mean, obviously in a hotel, open the door and they're making a porn movie. I mean, it's just extraordinary.
It is. Let's get a voice note from Laura.
Morning, Mike. Laura in Wiltshire. How fantastic to have Jeremy on the radio this morning with you. He certainly puts a bit of caffeine in one's veins. I just wanted to say, you're talking about how totally incompetent all these politicians are. They can't even string a sentence together. Most of the people who call into your show are more articulate than they are. I'm working with a whole load of builders at the moment, and yesterday, 2 of them were having a cup of tea and said, do you know, if I didn't think it was too dangerous for my job and my family, I would go and protest against all of this. But they said, the police are so corrupt, the likelihood is I'd be the one getting banged up. And these are not politically sophisticated people, Mike and Jeremy. These are just ordinary blokes who work very hard and are fed up. Anyway, great show, Mike.
Laura, very nice to hear from you.
Couldn't agree with them all.
I know. But she speaks, as most people do in this country, very articulately. She knows exactly what's going on. This government is a complete disaster. Sarah says this. Morning, Mike and Jez. Sarah from Birmingham here. Honestly, I could not wait for this morning's show. Seeing you keeping the momentum going from yesterday to now see Mr. Carr with you is an absolute bonus. Wish you could both stay on air right through until the end of drive time. Well, can we do that? I mean, that's sort of.
Well, listen, we've had challenges set us before.
12 hours of broadcasting. You've done that kind of thing in the past, haven't you?
I did 9/11. He called me at 11. I was on another radio station. He called me about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
We went through 17 hours.
Wow. It's incredible, isn't it?
You just got to do what you got to do, haven't you? It's not hard, is it? Going down a pit's hard.
That's right. I mean,
that's
what I say
all we
to
do is just talk.
People say to me, "You're going to retire. When are you going to retire?" I'm like, retire from what? Talking.
I think both of us would die if we retired.
Don't think so. No, let's talk about Meghan Markle. Great piece in The Sun today, pages 12 and 13.
I got it.
Because they were cancelled yesterday by Netflix. $100 million deal.
Do you want to just have a moment's silence there and hold hands or something? Because it is quite sad, isn't
it? Sad, yeah. Sussex's huge financial hit as Netflix dumps their £100 million deal. The contract will just expire without drama. There is no appetite for anything new.
Now, you know, my old man worked for the Queen Mother for 41 years. And
you have mentioned that.
And he was slightly outspoken. And he said to me 5 years ago, he'll be back in England with his ginger tail between his legs in a number of years, and she'll be in California, right, with 2 kids. The boy is completely transfixed by one thing and one thing only. It's coming home to roost. It's all. She's.
I can't have her at all, man. There was a piece a couple of weeks ago where quoting the Queen saying that you know, unfortunately, Harry is not imbued with very much sense and not very much power, and she's got both.
Well, said it before. Probably get chucked off the show. It's a two-word phrase, and the second word is whipped. Yeah. And that's why they got. I can't have him. I can't have her, rather. And he's
Oliver Harvey, the chief feature writer of The Sun. Brilliant intro. Like a slowly collapsing souffle, the Duchess of Sussex narcissistic cookery show has been judged a ratings flop, and Netflix has decided to pull the plug.
Is that the time for a fruit platter?
Well, do you know, it's funny you say that because we've got it. Well, here it is.
Yeah.
The fruit platter.
You see where our rainbow is coming together here? And you don't have to do a big platter of this. You could do this with one small row for your kids for breakfast, genuinely, and it makes the morning a lot more fun. But can I just show you if you just made one? Just a little morning plate. It's a real delight in being able to be a present parent. And it's a luxury sometimes because we all have to work. We all have a lot of stuff to do, but when you can take a minute to just...
Saturday morning.
Finding the fun in those moments makes for a really sweet start to the weekend.
Yeah, finding the fun in those moments of cutting up fruit.
A present parent. I mean, imagine this is what it's like in the Cowell household.
So I remember seeing this as one child was launching Weetabix at another child. One was having its nappy changed. Mrs. Carr was avoiding, you know, whatever those guns are that Oliver fires. I think, what? Again, a bit like our government. Are you so divorced from reality? You stupid... I mean, and for this... For me, this lot, you know, I was quite supportive about going there. They didn't want it. But they have played the game. It's all about them. She now shows on Facebook and stuff pictures of her kids. Yeah. Odious. Will never come back. And I had Matt Wilkinson last night from The Sun. Excellent. And he was saying on the Royal Exclusive that they do online that they did a poll And he is approaching as much hatred and anger amongst British people as her.
Because people have worked out, actually, but he's worse than she is, because you expect her to be a little grasping, ghastly American, but he should know better.
And
By the way, I'm told
think
there's a fruit platter for you waiting outside.
I don't want it. I also say very
for
quickly before I go, is the reason I think he wants to reconcile with his dad is because he knows that once his brother becomes king, I reckon William will strip them of their titles. I think he's got a moment for him, and I think that's absolutely spot on.
Nicola from Norfolk says, "Morning, Mike. What a dream duo this morning. I thought it was illegal to wear a face covering when on a protest march, yet virtually all of those Epping counter-protesters being accompanied by the police were masked up. What will it take? Oh, look at that. What will it take for the police to actually do their job with balance and without fear or favour?" And there you go.
Can I just say, look, can we get that? Look at that. Isn't that lovely? The way that's. I just like to take a moment. To have a little one out there. What a lovely moment to just have a rest here with a couple of bananas and some grapes.
It just makes you smile, doesn't it?
No, it gives you wind, actually, to be honest. Fruit. I'd rather have a bacon sandwich.
I had to buy my own banana.
Did you
got free one? Yeah, well, I bought.
My mother-in-law ordered what she thought was 5 bananas the other day when she came to the house, and they sent 5 bunches. My wife had to make banana cake.
I've had that problem where you think you've ordered 5 bananas, they bring you 1 banana.
Oh,
I actually had a delivery from Waitrose.
I bet the migrants are getting a lot of food.
Oh, I'm sure that they've got plenty. Well, they get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They've also got, as I think I said on Plank of the Week, there's a place in Birmingham where they're staying where they get vouchers to go to the local pub and they can have lunch there. And people up there are doing their Castle Vale, I think is the name of the housing estate. People go to the pub and they say there's some migrants over there, and you see them eating, and you see them ordering food and drink, and then they pass a voucher over, and they're sitting there going, well, we can't really afford to have a dessert, so we're just going to leave.
Honestly, mate, I don't know what happens to the world. It's unbelievable. I'm just going to sit here and munch on my fruit.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you,
mate.
Thank you so much for coming in. We must do this again. You'll just have to do it every week.
I'm very happy to do it again. And I'm going to go, but I might come back after 9 o'clock and just interrupt you again.
Yeah, do. And Christian will call you again tomorrow morning at 4.
Yeah, thank you, Christian.
Just to make sure that you're awake.
My favourite breakfast in the land, this is. It's brilliant. I love it.